Welcome to Musky Lake, the Musky Lake Campground. I am in the northern Highlands, American Legion State Forest in northern Wisconsin, and this campground is combined with Crystal Lake Campground. One entrance way back in Crystal Lake. There's about 100 sites in that group, and there are about 70 or 80 sites in this group campground. Not a group campground, but sites within the group of the campground. Um, this is what's off the back of my site. I assume the marker here is somebody got a campsite here, marked the tree, so that when they put in their canoe or kayak, they knew where to come to beach it. So like I said, that's off the back of my site. This whole area here with the water and these trails running along the edge of the water, it's all communal area, but it is right off the back of my site. Let me show you the site, because this is essentially site number 1 in the campground, in this case 301. Now I just pulled in. It's a Wednesday night, the week before the week before the 4th of July weekend, or 1 week before the 4th, and I nabbed the site. It was available tonight. I just went on Wisconsin Going to Camp, went to Northern Highlands American Legion State Forest, picked the grouping in the northern section, then subsection of Firefly, Crystal Lake, Muscatine Lake, grabbed Muscatine Lake, checked to see if 301 was available, and it was. This beautiful site. There's a couple other ones on the water side that were available. If not, I could have grabbed the one across the way at 302. There are plenty of sites here that I could have grabbed tonight. Okay, here's the campground map. I am here. You come in over here, come straight through, and you hit this spot. Everything looks kind of similar around here. We have these big, beautiful pines throughout, kind of open space between. A little bit of brushy here and there, just so you're not really on your neighbors, but not overly thick. So I'm gonna work my way through this tour. I guess I come down here so I can go in order, down to here. Then how does that work? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I come back up here. Then apparently I need to go back up there, and then I can do this side to keep the numbers sequential. This campground does have a shower house down here near the boat ramp. There's also one in the Crystal Lake Campground. Okay, as I said, I'm in 301. Big wide site. There are some routes that make it kind of funky finding a level spot. I first went over here, but I still had some wheels on the roots, which made it weird, so I found my way between the trees and it was a little better. 302 on the inside, you have a rock and a stump that you had to squeeze between, firing straight back. Nice flat site otherwise. It might be a little soft when it's wet. 303 over here, get a sense of what that's like. Very flat on the water side. 304 on the inside, big space in here to do whatever you want to with. That's a very long site, just gotta dodge a tree. Here in the state forest, there's no power, but you can run a generator until 5 o'clock. This is 305. You got a generator running back there. Quite a bit of room in there on the water side, all very flat. And some vault toilets over here. 306. Really big, spacious site on the water side. All right, 307 over here. Wide open space. Right behind the table is the fire ring, so you're on one side or the other the way you set up there. That is wide open. 308, not as big as the last one, but still pretty darn big. Dancing around rocks and sometimes here. 309 over here. Sometimes you feel like you just have too much sight. This one's got the fire ring on the right. So if you're bringing in an RV and the fire ring is totally in the wrong spot on you. 310. I think we're down at the end of the loop already. Let's see what kind of access to the water this one has. Plenty of room for something big over here. I can see what was here in an outline. The fire pit's on the right side. Let's see what's hiding behind a tree. Alright, same trail that goes behind my place. A little steeper hill climbing down, a little more scampering to be done here. You could still probably beach a boat down there if you wanted. 311, last one on this side on the water. You get a sense of how big that is. And we have a bigger water pump back here for water supply. 312 next to that. Another really big wide site. Plenty of room in there. The fire pit's over there. 313 on the inside loop. Plenty of room, not just one of the biggest ones, but very comfortable site. 314 over here. A little smaller. Move the picnic table, you can still get something fairly large. In here, you just got a tight squeeze between trees. Okay, I am on the outside loop. There is an inner loop we'll get to in a bit. But staying with the numbering, 315. Huge site. 316. You could go even a little bigger than this setup, but you can see that there's no problem parking the car in front. Okay, 317. Very big site. This gets a little vague. What's connected to what over here? I'm going to go around. This is like the last one in this portion of the loop. We'll go back through that middle and see how this all connects. But first, 318 on the main road coming in, I think that's where I am, is an accessible site. I don't know why the listing is accessible. There is, usually they do that next to a restroom, and there isn't one here. Well, that makes me want to backtrack over here and check something. I just come from over this way. 318 was over there. But what's down here? And this is why that was an accessible site. It's the closest one to the shower house. It's not right next to it like many others. It's over there, but it's still easy traveling to get to here. Okay, I just checked the map again. 317 here backs up to a pair of sites, which I always kind of consider the party sites. Because if you're going to get grouped together, so they may be part of that party. Don't be careful when you book a site next to a pair of sites if you don't want to be part of the party. All right, our numbers are facing backwards. 319 over here. You gotta really squeeze between the trees here to take advantage of it. 321, big deep site. Plenty of room in that one. 320. This campground I would consider a tent site. You could still fit an RV in here, but at least tents wouldn't feel quite as lost. It does slope up a little before you get in there. 323 over here, lots of room, but you have some deep roots to get around to get up in there. 322, probably one of the smallest sites I've seen so far. As a tent sites go, this one is still massive. You can easily get a pop-up, get what's over here would fit over there too. All right, I believe this would be a host site over here, or manager as they call them here. Usually they have the fire extinguisher in front. Yeah, camp host. 325 over here, pretty big. You got a little slope up and then a big level spot up top. 327, a lot of extra width here on top of where the RV is. You could almost line up 3 here, but you're not allowed to. Okay, we just did the full outer loop of the one side, and now we're going to do the inner stretch of that side. That'll do half the campground, and the other half is over here. And that starts out with 320. Can't see it from here yet. 328 is this really big, wide, cleared site. I don't know what's going on with the fire ring. That's kind of odd that it's just tossed to the side. 329 over here on the right. I can see the lots of room here. There's just, you got to dance around a little tree in the middle, but plenty of room to play. 330 on the left. Can't really do anything here within the trees and the rocks, but once you get past that, you got all the room in the world. 331, ton of room. All these sites have a lot of room and mostly flat. 320, 332 over here, straight back. Looks a little muddy in the middle there, but for the most part, okay. 333 looks a little less loved. There's some tall grass growing in here. Still plenty of room to play around with in here, that's for sure. 334 with the Airstream and the tent. You can see you got a lot of room and enough room for another vehicle or a boat or whatever you want. 335 over here. Again, very wide. Some roots right in the middle though. If you don't want the generator next to your camper, why do you think the other people want it by them? 336 and 337 are the pair site. So they got plenty of room to park over there, another one over there, and they kind of pulled that one around. There was enough room to do a U-turn and pull that one in. And I believe the last one on this half of the campground is 338. This one has a little downward slope, and then it's flat. It's not one of the biggest ones, but still plenty of room for lots of things. All right, just a quick update of where I am and what we've done. We did this loop, came back down here. So as I noted, 317 backed up to this pair of sites, the double reservable sites, and they really seemed connected. So if that's what you want to do, that is possible. Our next route is starting here, heading up around, and then I come back up through the middle of that. Now, note down here, there's a bike trail. This bike trail wanders forever through the national forest in this area up here. Bring your bikes, you can ride for hours. Okay, this is the road coming in. My site 301 there, and over here in the second half, 339. And honestly, where the rocks are in this is not one of the biggest sites. There's some there's some pretty good limitations there. 340, again, not one of the biggest. There's a bit of room over here, but it can get a little tight. 341, plenty of room back here. Show you just for a sense of scale. Obviously a vehicle here. There was an RV there. There mat next to it, and the screen house is where the table is. You can see where everything was because it rained. 342, big long site here. 343 over on the other side. You can see how much area for the picnic table and fire ring. And then as you come in back in here, you've got quite a bit of room. 344, another nice long site. Really wide, nothing to hit coming in. 345, you got the fifth wheel up there, The truck could stay in front of it, but they also got the boat over there too. And some vault toilets across from that. 346. Ton of room, but you got to go on this side of the site. The fire ring is hiding behind the slide over there. 347 here. They hooked it in around the tree to get enough room. So this wouldn't be the one I would really recommend for an RV, but they made it work. 348, very simple site to work with, except one tree in the middle, but plenty of room to get yourself in there. 349 here on the right. Like I said, sometimes you feel like you just have too much sight. Trees are almost too far apart to do what he's doing. 350, one of the last ones really on the water side here. Let's see how much room they have. 351 over here, lots of room to play. 352, still plenty of room here. They're just using it as a tent site with a boat, but you could get something bigger in here. It's a little snug between the trees. 353, very big site, lots of room to maneuver there. 354 here, lots of room. They chose to hook that around. You could get something bigger around there if you wanted, but you may not need to. 355 over here, that's about all before you hit a tree back there. So you can see there's not enough room for the vehicle in front, but there's room to go side. 356, I highly recommend a tent site. Dancing between these trees would not be easy. You can see how they've snuck this way back in there. The entrance is way over here. So that is 357. They went back, turned the corner for their RV. They still have enough room for a whole nother fifth wheel hiding up front here. 358. It's pretty deep, more basic, it's not extra wide. 359. They have come back, hooked around the trees to get it back all the way in there, taking every inch into the back they can. But if you don't want to, you can go straight back. 360, you're going to want to kind of curve it around a bit if you've got a big rig or a great tent site. It's pretty long though. 361, big and wide, lots of room here, not a super amount of depth. 362, 63 is a pair of sites. You can do a lot with it, and like that other one did, what they did was they first pulled in one all the way around and pulled out the vehicle that way and left it here facing that way, and the other one over there facing in. It's a great way to take advantage of a site like this, take advantage of the pull through. 364, this is a very comfortable tent site. It doesn't feel oversized. I would be comfortable in here. This is what most places I go, this is a big site. Here, this is a small site, but excellent tent site. All very flat, soft. 365 over here. There is quite a bit of room over here for something of a good travel trailer or an excellent tent site. There's some hammock trees in there. 366, lots of room back there. Not an oversized site, but a decent sized site. 367 here. It's a wide site, not very deep. They're using it well. 368 over here. It's a very long site. Whatever length you've got will fit in here, not a problem. Right here is one of the narrowest spots getting it through this campground, between this pole and 369's marker, which is pretty big, which might actually limit your ability to twist and turn to get in here, but you could hook a big vehicle back there or tuck away a really nice tent site. All right, coming back down the center section, my site is straight ahead to the left, and now we're hitting that hook in the center of this section of loops, the section's loop. Starting at 370 here on the left, not one of the biggest sites, and what they have is about right. 371 here, not a lot of room in front of the travel trailer, but you have room to park next to it. 372, big, wide site. There's lots of room off to the left and to the right, and you come in here. 373, this one's a little tricky to get into. Lots of room once you get past all these trees, but there are a lot of trees to maneuver around. Same thing with 374. If you go straight back, you're into the picnic table, but you can hook a corner if you want to get something bigger in here. All right, 375. This one is forever deep once you get lined up, and you should be able to line up pretty well with this one. Really big site. 376 over here. Nice long site. Not really big once you get back there, but in most campgrounds this would be huge. Here it's a medium-sized one. 377. This isn't one of the longest ones. Don't go too big with this one. There's a stump that'll block your way. 378, fairly wide entrance. Trying to get over here will be a challenge. Excellent tent site. 379, nice and long. Not one of the longest, but still pretty good and plenty wide. 380, probably one of the smaller ones here. Basically based on where the trees are. There's a lot of room here, you can grow out, but in the back it's not very wide. Okay, 381 and 382, I assume they're listed as a pair of sites. You got an island in between the two entrances, but a ton of room back here to get creative with. And this is the official entrance to 382. But you could come in 381 and come out here if you are here with a friend. And that's the loop. Well, that's my take on Musky Campground in the Northern Highlands, American Legion State Forest in northern Wisconsin. Oh, so many mouthfuls. These sites are huge. They are especially huge considering there's no power or no hookups in this place. So this place is built for RVs for the most part. I almost feel like tents are lost in here. My vehicle seems lost in here, but it fits comfortably. You don't have to cram in. So it's a very nice campground. I'm curious to see if Crystal Lake is the same. We'll be checking that out next. And thanks for coming along. This is a beautiful place. There's a little airflow through here. It's not too dense a forest. I'm not being eaten alive yet. I don't know if the rain kind of knocked them down and will bring them back. Who knows? But if this is your first time here, check out my playlist for all of the Wisconsin state parks and state forest campgrounds. And I'll have another playlist of the National Forest campgrounds that are just east of here in Wisconsin. So check all those out, find your perfect spot, and get on out there. Be careful of deer.